Notre prochain orateur est Son Excellence Monsieur Sergueï Kilitsia, ministre adjoint des Affaires étrangères d'Ukraine.
Thank you, Mr. President, Madam Director General, Mr. Chairman of the Executive Board, distinguished heads of delegations. This session is very special, and this is not only due to the 70th anniversary of UNESCO. It is first and foremost because the organization marks this date while in a state of deep qualitative transformation. The second decade of the 21st century turned out to be extremely rich in new challenges that UNESCO should quickly and adequately respond to. We are so closely and increasingly intertwined with political issues that this sometimes even stirs discussions on whether some most burning and urgent issues fall under UNESCO's mandate, or whether they are purely political. For Ukraine, especially as a newly elected non-permanent member of the UN Security Council, UNESCO is one of the main cornerstones of the UN system. And if this pillar turns out to be weak, the UN building will eventually shatter. We unequivocally support efforts being undertaken by the Director General and the UNESCO member states in the context of major reform under current circumstances. We are confident that in order to keep UNESCO up with the pace of history, the strong UNESCO leadership devoted to the UN values and with outstanding integrity to be able to withstand external influence, the leadership which is able to be ready to face the complex challenges of the new millennium is imperative and vital. Ukraine stands up for the proposals contained in the relevant decisions of the Executive Board, including the establishment of an ongoing governance mechanism to be implemented via intersessional meetings attended by observer states. The new objectives have underlined the special significance of education, which is at the heart of the mandate of our organization. We stand ready to continue our work in accordance with the outcomes of the World Education Forum. Ukraine is ready to make every possible contribution aimed at reinforcing the strategy and action for countering violent extremism through education and on the protection of cultural heritage and the promotion of cultural pluralism in the event of armed conflict. I would also stress the strong commitment of my country to the protection and preservation of the environment, resulting in harmonization of our legislation in order to consolidate and increase our presence in the world network of biosphere reserves and for an assertive policy towards renewable energy. Excellencies and colleagues, speaking about the noble goals and tasks of our organization, I cannot avoid mentioning a part of the world where the principles of UNESCO are flagrantly violated and people are deprived of their basic rights due to occupation by a foreign state. The testimonies we hear every day prove that Russia's temporary occupation of Crimea continues to lead to massive and systematic violations of fundamental rights and freedoms of the citizens living on the peninsula. The latest example is a decree of the Russian government by which 220 Ukrainian cultural sites in Crimea were illegally enlisted as a federal property of Russia. I would like to draw your attention to the fact that this step was undertaken just 3 days after the approval of the decision of the Executive Board on the follow-up of the situation in Crimea. This unacceptable situation is further exacerbated by the total information blackout imposed by the occupying authorities that have rendered practically impossible consistent monitoring by international organizations. Taken into consideration the new decision on Crimea, adopted by the last session of the Executive Board, we will spare no efforts in order to facilitate the full use of UNESCO potential in order to prove that the credibility and democratic power of our organization can overcome the power of violence and injustice currently ruling Crimea. We are looking forward to practical action of Director General to establish a monitoring mechanism at the institutional level in line with the decision. Chers représentants de notre famille mondiale de l'UNESCO, cette conférence générale aura à débattre des questions d'importance toute particulière, directement liées à l'actualité internationale immédiate. Nous sommes tout à fait d'accord avec la vision de Madame la Directrice générale du rôle de notre organisation, qui existe précisément pour rappeler que c'est dans l'urgence qu'il faut justement ne rien céder sur le droit humain, sur la dignité humaine, sur le respect des libertés fondamentales. C'est lorsque les droits sont bafoués qu'il faut les rappeler avec davantage de force et de conviction. Aujourd'hui, plus que jamais, l'UNESCO peut et doit fournir une réponse concrète et efficace aux défis actuels dans tous ces domaines de compétences. Merci de votre attention.